peeling wallpaper of the Craven family's ancestral home whispered secrets, as Helen unpacked cardboard boxes filled with dusty mementos. Among them, crammed into the corner of a box marked kitchen, she found an ornate silver spoon. It glinted in the dim light, catching her attention with its intricate engravings, swirling patterns that seemed almost alive. The spoon felt cold to the touch, as if it had been recently polished, yet the moment it was uncovered, an uneasy chill descended upon the room. As the day slipped into evening, shadows lengthened across the worn wooden floors. Helen set the spoon aside, intending to figure out its purpose later, but as she moved around the house, an uneasy tension hung in the air. The faint sound of something metallic clinking echoed softly through the halls. She paused, straining her ears. It was not the wind or the settling of the house. It was a distinct rhythm, like the tapping of a spoon against porcelain. Later that night, just as she began to dream, a sharp noise jolted her awake. The spoon was gone from its resting place on the side table. In its place, a mug set tipped over, as if in hasty retreat. Helen's heart raced as she slipped from bed and padded toward the kitchen, where the clinking continued, like a lullaby that turned ominous in the night's quiet. The air felt thick, oppressive, laced with the scent of something sweet and familiar that turned acrid in her nostrils. As she crossed the threshold into the kitchen, a shadow zipped under the slightly ajar door leading to the cellar, disappearing into the darkness beyond. Helen froze, the room seeming to close in on her as the temperature dropped, leaving the air tinged with a damp chill. She stepped closer to the door, drawn by a mix of fear and curiosity. There on the dusty window were handprints, small, childlike impressions in the dust, framed by older, adult-sized marks, as if something had reached up, searching for escape. Suddenly, the spoon clattered from an unseen source, raining mercilessly against the floor, the sound echoing like laughter in the void of the house. Heart in her throat, Helen swung the door wide open. The cellar was cloaked in darkness, and she felt sweat prickling at her back as she dared to step inside. The air was thick with humidity and the smell of earth, shadows churning ominously in the far corners. Just as she turned to scan the darkness, the cold glint of the spoon caught her eye again, now resting right near the bottom of the staircase, shiny and pristine as though it had just been polished. She bent down to retrieve it, her fingers tightening around the cool handle. All at once a rush of history enveloped her. Memories clawed at the back of her mind, family parents, whispering warnings of the heirloom's power. It always comes back, they had said, too naive to fully understand the weight behind those words. Then, with skin crawling, she sensed a movement behind her, the air shifting with a silent urgency. Turning, Helen's breath hitched as she saw it. A figure, a small child, standing amidst the shadows, a face obscured, but eyes staring straight through her. The room felt alive, the walls pulsating with an ancient rhythm, almost alive, thrumming in sync with the spoon's cold metal. As the figure stepped forward, the clink of cutlery ceased. The child's mouth moved, forming words that echoed in Helen's mind. "We've been waiting." Suddenly, the oppressive weight of understanding pressed down on her. This spoon, this cursed relic, was a tether connecting her, anchoring her family's secrets along generations, drawing her into a past she thought long buried. Realizing there would be no escape until the heirloom was put to rest, she clutched the spoon tightly, its surface beginning to grow warm. In that moment, the ghostly child gestured toward the door, leading deeper into the cellar, beckoning her to embrace what must be done. With steadfast resolve, Helen followed the child deeper into the shadows, seeking to finally understand the legacy that haunted her family. By the time the first light of dawn streamed through the windows, the Craven house stood silent. The shadows receded, and the air held a fragile stillness. The heirloom was returned where it belonged, a hidden nook back in the cellar, and there it would stay. No longer would it roam the halls, for the whispers that had haunted generations finally quieted. Helen stepped out into the morning, free from the grip of her family's past, the silver spoon resting quietly in its darkened embrace.